What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Sistas. This is season 10, episode 4, and I think the episode was titled Safety Blanket. I could be wrong, but y'all, let's go ahead and talk about it. Alright, so we actually start this episode off with Zach and Fatima. They're in their bed, and they hear this loud noise outside, right? Zach, he all at the window trying to check and see what's going on outside. And here's the thing. I completely understand why they are paranoid, okay? I completely get it, because the whole Andy's car being, set on fire, set ablaze, the whole, explosion, that happened at their house. So somebody knows where they live. That's not cool, okay? Now, Fatima gets the bright idea that maybe they should send a message, because she swears up and down that it was Dr. Cruz, right? And I'm like, Fatima, girl, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, could you please operate like a pregnant woman sometimes? Like, you don't always have to be big bad Tima. You do not have to be big bad Tima every time we turn around. Girl, you are carrying a baby. Sit your ass down somewhere. How about that? Okay? Now, moving on, we get to the juice bar. Oh my God. I never thought that we would have to see Rich at the juice bar again. But no, here we are. So, he had his job or whatever. And here comes the new sister. What's her name? I don't know. They never said her name the entire episode. Okay, cool. She comes in and she wants to do like this cross-promotion partnership between her business and her potential business. Because it sounds like her business ain't even off the ground yet. I'm like, girl, what's the business? You ain't said what you do. Is it fitness? Is it wellness? What you doing, girl? Let me know. Now, he's all down for this, cross-promotional business that they want to do. And I'm just like, man, as long as a woman is smiling in his face, he down for it. But you know what? Whatever. So, we slide on over to Danny. She's at her house. I can't lie, y'all. She was wiping something off her boobs. And I said, damn, the boobies are bouncing, okay? Danny got body, okay? And she's over here having flashbacks of what just occurred with Marcus. Y'all, I feel bad for Danny. I really do, because it's like, how many times do we have to see this woman suffer in this damn apartment, okay? Way too much stuff has happened in this apartment. I've already expressed that on my last review. So we actually slide on over to Andy, right? And she's at the hospital. She actually went to go check on Sabrina. That's very big of Andy, because we know how she can be. But this seems like she's really shaken up about Sabrina and her condition, right? Now, we learned that Sabrina is a fighter because she made it through the night. And when Andy asked the nurse about, what are the odds looking like, the nurse, baby, she was not the best person to talk to, because she was like, yeah, some people, they got worse. But, there's also some people who got better. I said, girl, don't try to clean it up now. Like, you have already killed the vibe. But, I guess with this whole Sabrina situation, we're just going to have to ride it out and see how long they're going to drag it out. But, y'all, I'm trying to stick with it. I'm trying to stick with the show, okay? So, moving on from there, Pam pops up on Maurice, her new bestie, okay? Karen's gone, so now her and Maurice are really locked in. And for Maurice, Sabrina's gone, so I do like the friendship, okay? Side note, Pam looks good, okay? Angie looks great. But nonetheless, they basically talk about how, he's feeling like he can't go to the hospital because he doesn't want to see his friend in the condition that she's in. But Pam is supporting him, saying, no, you got to go to the hospital and support her. And they talk about him possibly talking to Sabrina, because he's heard that when people are in a coma, they can actually hear you. And, oh, not to mention, I forgot about this, Pam also put Sabrina's name in the prayer box. I said, okay, cool. Y'all, I think I'm really going to like the friendship between Pam and Maurice the most this season. I feel like that is, where my loyalty to the show will lie. But Maurice says that he's going to get himself together so that he can support his friend Sabrina, and I was here for it. Because honestly, I feel like it is really breaking Maurice up to pieces because he absolutely loves Sabrina. And we know how much stuff him and Sabrina have been through together. And how supportive, even though he has his way of telling her stuff, he's very supportive to her and she is to him. You know what I mean? So moving on, we see Andy after she has stepped outside of the room where Sabrina's supposedly at. And here comes Dr. Vaughn. I'm like, God damn, why are you even on this floor? You supposed to be working with the pregnant ladies. Ain't nobody pregnant on this floor. Why are you here? But no, he talking about, oh, I was going to check on your friend. She ain't your patient. So why are you checking? Hell, why are we in this hospital? Because ain't this the same janky hospital that dog carrying out? Nonetheless, of course, Andy ends up telling him about the whole car blowing up situation, and she's like, yeah, Dr. Cruz hired somebody to do that to me. And I'm like, okay, you don't know for sure, but he absolutely probably did it. So now Dr. Vaughn, he says that he wants to go get breakfast so they can have a conversation. I'm sorry, what? What do you mean you want to go get breakfast? Then he proceeds to walk to the door and nods his head for her to come too. And of course she just goes. I'm like, oh my God. This is the same repetitive shit when it comes to Andy. The one time when she should stand on business, she's not doing it. Well, not the one time, but one of the times where she should stand on business, she's not doing it with Dr. Vaughn. Child, I guess. Now we jump on over to Rich, and this new girl, she's just flirting with him. She asking if he's single, and he's like, oh, it's complicated. Not really, nigga. You and Sabrina were not together. Regardless of if she's in a coma or not, okay? Be so for real. Now, y'all, I must say, this woman is very pretty. Very, very pretty. But low-key, I feel like the red lipstick that she wears, it's the color of the red lipstick. It ages her, but I feel like that's the only color that they're going to let her wear this season. Because even in the promo shot, she's wearing that same bright red lipstick. But I digress. Nonetheless, we basically learn a little bit more about her. She's from Atlanta. She moved away, I think, to like Louisiana somewhere. But then she came back because her parents are getting older. Again, we still don't know her name. But moving on. Dr. Vaughn and Andy, they're out to have lunch or whatever, or breakfast. And he's telling her that basically the reason why he backed Dr. Cruz was because he was a first year, I believe. So, of course, he's going to back the doctor who probably knows more. However, behind the scenes, he did raise some concern about Dr. Cruz to the board. But clearly they gave him some pushback, right? Now, of course, he's telling Andy that, you know, there are some things that happen at the hospital where shit ain't fair. And because of the color of his skin, you know, he got his own battles, which is absolutely true. But I'm still giving a side eye to that man ever since he said he only dated white women. So there's that. But according to him, he will absolutely stand on the right side of justice and testify against Dr. Cruz. We'll see when that happens, all right? So, Danny, she has a knock at the door, y'all, and it is Tony, okay? Nigga, why is you here? I don't understand. I feel like I keep asking these niggas, why is you here? So, she basically tells him that he gotta leave, and keep in mind, she has this huge knife in her hand, because it's very clear that she is scared, and if a man want to try her, she's going to attack them. He want to talk. I'm sorry, nigga, you want to talk now? I don't understand why. What you not about to do is drag this shit out. Because when she tried to have a conversation with you, it went nowhere. Okay? You did not want to talk to her. So now you want to come back the next day and try to have a conversation? No, it don't work like that. The same way how when you just up and decided to go ahead and leave, walk out, nigga, you should have grabbed all of your shit. But oh no. You still had to come get a gym bag. No, nigga, I'm tired of you keep popping up, okay? So, basically, he over here looking around her apartment. He's like, yo, what happened up in here? And she's like, you don't even have the right to ask me that anymore. Because it ain't like we together. And then he says, well, you know, I see the bruises. Who did this to you? I said, nigga, you ain't moving like a nigga who's concerned. Like, you said that a little too calm for me. Put some fucking bass in your fucking voice to be like, yo, I'm sorry, wait a second. You got bruises? Like, y'all, I'm sorry, but like, the way he was so nonchalant about her having bruises was crazy to me. I'm like, what are we watching? I get it, he's supposed to be very, like, even keeled, but no. He just did not seem as concerned as he needed to be. He needed to put a little bit more oomph into it. But from there, we end up sliding back over to Andy and Dr. Vaughn, okay? And y'all, she's entertaining him like she loves to do. I'm just so distracted because, my God, how many bottles of that Beijing shit you got on his head? I'm distracted. What is going on? Like, I think my main issue with the whole Beijing thing is that, like, that shit, it just coats the entire head. Like, you niggas is out here looking like Jermaine Jackson, okay? I don't understand why we're doing this. It's distracting. So, now these two, it's very clear that they're going to be intertwined at some point because he wants to get to know Andy more. Child, bye. We jump back over to Tony. He's trying to get to the bottom of what happened to Danny. It's very clear she is shutting down and shutting him out. And Danny ends up explaining that, you know, these are things that she brought on herself and how, you know, she's basically disgusted with herself because she cheated. And y'all, I'm kind of annoyed because I'm like, did you cheat? Because he was no longer your man. But okay, girl, if that's the story that we want to go with, sure, that's what happened. So she ends up telling him to leave, tell him to go home. And when she ends up walking out the room, he ends up calling her therapist to do a house call. I said, whoa, the fact that you have her therapist's number is kind of weird, but I'm going to let it go because you try to do the right thing. Now, Andy comes home to her sister. She trying to sleep off that drug-fueled night that she just had. And Cheyenne is feeling away about her sister. She is definitely this bratty little sister that gives off teenager instead of a girl who's like mid-20s. But nonetheless, she feels away because Andy ratted her out. Andy was like, girl, it just slipped out, okay? So then Andy ends up asking about her mom, like how she's doing. And Cheyenne's like, oh, you know, she's good. I think she was sleeping. And also at the same time, Cheyenne was like cooking for her. So I'm like, okay, I guess we're going to have a storyline where Cheyenne is going to get her life together and maybe start cooking or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I feel like she's always in the kitchen. Nonetheless, Andy basically is telling her sister, like, oh, you got to get your act together when you move in because I don't play those type of games. And Cheyenne's excited because now she's going to move in with her big sister. Whoop-dee-doo. Next thing you know, Andy mama come pop up. She happy because her girls are getting along. And she also ends up asking Andy about Sabrina. And of course, Andy tells her, you know, Sabrina made it through the night, but shit still ain't looking too good for my girl. And her mom's like, no, you gotta keep the faith. You gotta pray for her. Blah, 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 blah. All right, moving on. We jump over to Zach and Fatima. Y'all know I like me some Zach and Fatima, but baby, they ain't giving us shit on this show. I know I'm maybe a little bit dramatic, but I just kind of feel like maybe they're trying to like figure out what storylines are going to work for Zatima versus what works over here. I don't know. Nonetheless, they had this cute little moment about the baby. And next thing you know, he wants to hang out with his Uncle Daddy. He wants to hang out with Mr. Keys. And she don't trust Mr. Keys. She's like, you know, you just need to get to know him better. Well, girl, how else is he going to do that? He got to hang out with the man. What are we talking about? Let him hang out with his Uncle Daddy, okay? Moving on. Tony is still at Danny's house, okay? Now, Lucretia has come over and he's giving her the rundown on Danny. And again, in my mind, I'm like, well, damn, now we have another random person in this woman's house. Like, I get it. I understand because of the situation. But again, why are all these random people just popping up at people's houses? I don't get it. But nonetheless, he ends up giving her the rundown, like I said, of what has happened with what he knows about Danny. Okay? And he ends up leaving, saying he's going to come back later. And Danny is locked in the bathroom. She's literally crying out to Sabrina because she wishes she could talk to her best friend. And I felt so bad for her in that moment. Lucretia is knocking on the door to announce herself. And I'm like, okay, at least she did that. At least she's saying, like, hey girl, I'm here. Moving on from there. Y'all, we saw some random woman at the hospital. I don't know who she was. I don't know her job title. I don't know if she a bill collector. I don't know who that lady was. But she like, this Sabrina Hollins lady, where her family at? Because we trying to track the family down. Now we can't find nobody. And the nurse is like, well, I mean, her friend is her next of kin. And I'm like, first of all, how do you know if that's not her cousin or not? You have no idea if Danny is her cousin. So how do you know if that's just a friend? They ain't saying nothing. But nonetheless, they are trying to track somebody down because nobody can make decisions over Sabrina as far as like the friend circle goes because they are not family. And y'all, the older I get, the more I realize that like, yo, I understand we want to be family for everything, but some things I feel like it should be able to be delegated to a friend. But y'all, that's a whole nother video for a whole nother time, okay? That's just a side note. Moving on. Danny ends up coming out and questions if Tony called Lucretia. And she's like, yeah, he's worried about you. And Danny's like, oh, he's worried about me, huh? So Danny ends up, coming out the bathroom and trying to have this conversation with Lucretia. And Lucretia is doing her best, okay? Y'all, this was the one time when I can say that I support Lucretia as a therapist. Because before, some of the shit she was saying, I was like, girl, what are we talking about? I don't understand how you got that from that. But in this moment, she was actually doing her job, okay? Because she's trying to figure out what the hell is going on with Danny and how did we even get here. My problem with Danny is, of course, she talking about how she cheated on this nigga. But my whole thing is this. Baby, that was point D, okay? You need to carry your ass right back up to point A. Because let's not forget, that nigga stole your money. Okay? He crossed you. He stole your fucking money. He moved it. He forced himself into moving into your home. Like, baby, there's a plethora of things that Tony has fucking done. And what we're not about to do is just make it seem like, oh, because she cheated, that completely deletes all the shit that he's done to her. You're smoking drugs if you think I'm ever going to think that. Okay? So, Danny, she ends up telling her that, she cheated on Tony and how the man she cheated with is a psychopath. And Lucretia, she ends up asking her, like, yo, who did this to you? But Danny is like, it can't be called abuse if it was consensual. Danny, first of all, one thing I need for us to realize is that, especially as, like, TV writers, women aren't stupid. They're not like living under a rock. And I feel like with her saying that, I'm like, Danny, you should know at this point for sure, at your big age and through your experiences, that it was not consensual that time. You only consented to that man one time. Not for him to barge into your home and rape you. Or should I say attempt to rape you, because you was tearing his ass up with that goddamn skillet. But considering, y'all, who Danny is and what we have already experienced with her, with another man putting hands on her in this same type of way, I don't understand how she took the full blame, like, tried to take the full blame for that. That was crazy to me, because you did not consent to that at all. Like, why would you even think that was I guess, her mind is gone, okay? She's mentally messed up, I guess. Now, moving on from there. It is very clear that Danny don't want to talk. She's shutting down. And then we end the scene with Lucretia, asking her if she was sexually assaulted. And we got no answer out of Danny because that is where the episode ended. In that moment, I feel like Lucretia did a great job as a therapist. Tony, yeah, you was cool for calling her. But also at the same time, nigga, I'm still giving you a side eye. But y'all, that was the episode. Let me know what y'all thought about it. I'm going to try to do better with reviewing the show. And if y'all have any suggestions for things for me to review, because I feel like I ain't really got much, let me know. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.